to another edition of Real Estate Live. I'm Kathy Mae Martin, and I'm your host today. We got a great show for you. If you're thinking of buying or selling, chances are you're going to run across a home inspection. But don't fret, my guest tonight has been doing home inspections for almost 20 years, and we're going to answer all your questions live on the air. Check out the screen. You can comment to us live on Facebook or call us live on the air, and we're going to answer those questions in real time. Stay tuned. We got a great show for you. Welcome back. I am so excited tonight to have as my guest Peter Tagliere. You know, when you're selling a home, it's so much more than putting a sign in the yard and just selling a home. It's guiding folks through one of the most biggest financial decisions that they'll ever make. And Pete does it with grace, integrity, knowledge, experience, and a whole lot of heart. I call him Perfect Pete. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Pete.
We got into real estate about 20 years almost after moving here. We moved here in 2005. Came here to be with family, and we visited often before that. We fell in love with the area, we fell in love with the people, the culture, and we just never left.
Yeah. Glad you're here, and people fall in love with you, Pete. Thank you for doing such a great job for us. I think you got a house you're going to tell us about.
I do. 717 Bernard Avenue. Nice little house. It's got a block foundation, nice front porch. If you look into the kitchen area, the kitchen area is nice. It's usable. That's the master bedroom, and it's big. Got its own bathroom right there, private suite, plenty of room for dressers, a couch if you want to, sofa, nursery. I mean, there's just so many options for that bedroom. It's a brand new floor in there too. So and then in the kitchen, very usable. The appliances do stay. That fridge can be where it's at or just on to the other side of the dishwasher there, closest to us on the bottom there. So there's two places that's just where they like it. It's got a great eating area just kind of behind it, and we don't have that in the pictures, I don't think, but off to the door back there, there's a laundry room back there, more cabinetry, and it's a good sized room back there too. The yard is real nice. There's the front porch. About half the length of the house. Very usable. He's got his grill out there, just a couple steps up. It's very level to the house. I mean, it's real easy to maintain. The roof is only 5 years old. There's just kind of another view of it. Definitely a Green Bay Packer fan. I'm going to throw that out there. Yeah, I'm a Bears fan.
You're a Bears fan.
But we get along. He's a nice guy, and we like each other, and we get along just fine.
Good.
So we put that to the side for the love of real estate.
Yes, for the love of real estate. Thank you for doing that, Pete. What was the price on that house?
$269,900.
$269,900. Will it go FHA?
It will not go FHA or VA. It's got a window that doesn't stay up.
Okay.
And it's got a couple small holes in the siding in different areas. They're not massive. It's not like you can put your hand through them, but FHA will look at that, and it's fixable if somebody wants to fix it. But it's other than that, it's a really nice house.
Yeah, for that price, it looks amazing, and it looks like a great neighborhood.
Yeah, the
you got a great agent here. If you're thinking of buying or selling, give Pete Tagliere a call. I promise he's going to do a great job for you. There's his number there on the screen. And if you're thinking of buying or selling, or tell all your friends, Pete will do a fantastic job. welcome back. As promised, I said I would have our host tonight, our co-host, is David Crowe with Safety First Home Inspections. Dave and I met, gosh, probably almost 20 years ago.
It was.
Doing home inspections, and you know what? I've been using him ever since because he does a great job. He's very thorough, and he's been doing a lot of homes and has a lot of experience. David, tell us about how you kind of got in this business.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I studied environmental engineering in college and actually never used that degree. I was a sales manager with a Canada Dry bottler in Florida and then a Pepsi bottler in Georgia for many, many years. Moved back to East Tennessee, and I was interested in starting a business. And I heard about home inspection back shortly after 2000, and then in 2006 when the state had the licensing come about for home inspections, then I went in and got trained and got my license, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, probably, and I've been doing this 34 years, but about the first 5 or 10 years, we never heard of a home inspector. Nobody ever had home inspections, and I will tell you, it changed the way we do real estate, it changed the way we sell and buy houses, and it's a good thing. You definitely, if you're thinking of buying or selling, you want to do a home inspections. On a typical week, about how many inspections does your company do?
We'll do between 15 and 20 in a good week. Of course, that fluctuates. It's a seasonal business. And we're about to come into our season, so those are the numbers that we're looking for.
Thank goodness.
Absolutely.
I'm ready for it. Are you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What exactly does a home inspection entail?
Well, it's quite a lot. Of course, since we are licensed by the state has a standards of practice that we have to follow, and it's pretty much everything about the house, all the major systems in the home, the structure of the home, electrical, plumbing, all of the HVAC systems, water heater, and pretty much anything except cosmetic issues.
The roof,
the roof, foundation, the condition of the exterior. There's a lot that goes into it.
A lot, yes. Now, when you're doing an inspection, does the inspection include like the dock, or is that something extra that folks sign on for? Tell me how that works.
That would typically be something extra. We're happy to inspect docks. Of course, primarily what we're looking for is just safety issues with a dock. If there's electrical or water that's run down to the dock, then we want to make sure those are safe and operable.
Yes.
We want to operate any kind of jet ski lifts or boat lifts, things like that, just to make sure everything's operating the way that's supposed to, so people are safe.
Yeah. So as agents, we always try to make sure that the electrical, the water, the gas is on, especially if it's a vacant house, so that you can do your job, do a thorough inspection, and you don't have to come back a second time.
Right. We appreciate that very much.
What are some of the most common issues that are found in a home inspection?
Depending on the age of the house, a lot of times it's minor electrical issues, missing GFIs. If it is an older home that's pre 1965, it may not be a fully grounded circuit, so we'll find things like that. And just normal wear and tear is what we run across.
Yeah. And we usually tell our clients, we're not looking for cosmetic things. We're looking for things, or the inspector is. We're not. We don't typically go to the home inspection. We want the home inspector to do his job. Typically, the sellers are not there. Sometimes the buyers come at the end.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
So that you can go over it. But we want you to be thorough. We want you to be able to do your job and do it thorough. So what are some of the scary things that are not that big of a deal but might scare a buyer, like electrical or
Sure. Well, it really depends on how you communicate to the buyer. The buyers, especially first-time home buyers, can be terrified of most anything that's not perfect. And part of our job, no, we don't sell houses, so we don't have a vested interest in making sure that this buyer buys the house.
Correct.
But at the same time, we don't want them to be nervous about their purchase, and we want them to be comfortable knowing that unless it's a major structural issue, everything else can be fixed.
Yes.
It's all a value judgment that they need to make with their professional real estate agent. But everything can be repaired, everything can be made right, and we just kind of want to put them at ease and let them understand that, because it doesn't do our buyers any good to leave the home inspection terrified and on the fence about whether or not they want to buy their house or not.
Yeah.
That's not our goal.
You're helping them to make informed decisions, and you're not looking for the perfect house. And
Right.
there is no perfect house,
That's
David.
right.
I've been doing this 34 years, and
Right.
I've yet to find even a new construction. They're just not perfect.
Absolutely. Well, humans build houses, and humans aren't perfect. So.
Yes, that is correct. So, what about, let's say, I have a seller, and he says, Kathy, do you think I should do a home inspection prior to listing? I typically say yes, that's a great investment. We can look for any problems and, take care of those. They'll
Sure.
probably still have their home inspection when we get a buyer, but do you get a lot of those?
We don't get a lot of those. Of course, as a home inspector, I think everybody needs to have their house inspected all the time.
Absolutely, yes.
But from a seller's perspective, one thing to consider, and I know that you think about these things with your sellers too, if we find things, if the house is in great shape, then doing a home inspection can be a benefit to the seller from a marketing point of view, because they can show the home inspection report to the buyers and kind of put the buyers at ease. If we find a lot of things wrong, then it can create disclosure for the seller.
Yes.
And so there are times that it may not be a good idea, even though I sell home inspections for a living. There are times that it may not be a good idea for a seller to have a home inspection.
Yeah, but it's good for us to know if we run across a house and, it may look fine, but behind the walls or underneath the house, I'm not crawling underneath the
Sure.
house or up on top of the roof.
Sure.
Sometimes when we find out those things, maybe the roof is 25 years old,
Right.
and the seller doesn't really know, he's thinking it's 15, then we know, hey, we're going to maybe have to price that or structure a certain type of financing for that home.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so that is so helpful. I kind of think of it as like going to the doctor and getting a checkup. That way, and you should do it every so often, just like you said. Do a home inspection.
Sure.
Every 10 years, 5 years. What would you suggest?
Well, if you've lived in your house for 5 years, it's probably a good idea to have a checkup. We do maintenance inspections, and we would be more than happy to come in and check things out for you and make sure that all the systems in your home are running the way that they're supposed to.
Yeah, yes. What are some of the most expensive repairs that a buyer might encounter? And that's what we're looking for, the big ticket items.
Absolutely. Roofs, HVAC systems, and structural issues
Yes.
are the three that are the most expensive.
Those are the three that are most expensive, but they can be overcome. And typically, when you run across one of those, you give them the information, but you usually typically say, get a professional in that, like a professional roofer to give you an estimate. How do we approach that?
Well, for instance, you mentioned a 25-year-old roof a moment ago. If we see a roof that's nearing the end of its serviceable life, then that's the way that we'll report it, and we'll recommend that they have it further evaluated by a qualified professional. Same thing if we find electrical issues, and it's not a dodge. We're not trying to shift the responsibility to somebody else. But home inspectors are not licensed electricians. We're not licensed plumbers. We're not licensed roofers. And we need to stay in our lane.
Yes.
And if home inspectors aren't, and some of these guys are, I've got a friend in Nashville that's a 30-year electrician. He's been an electrician for a long, long time. He's an expert.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in residential electrical issues.
And most home inspectors are not experts outside of just
Right.
doing the typical inspection.
That's exactly right.
Yes. So, what should buyers not ignore in their home inspection report? What's something they should not ignore?
That's a great question. I would encourage all buyers to fully read their home inspection report and then speak to the real estate professional about what their concerns are. Or if it's one of our clients, they're more than welcome to call us, and we're more than happy to go over the report with them. If they have questions later, we're more than happy to talk to them and talk them off the ledge about those issues as well. But I can't think of anything that that they shouldn't be concerned about, right? Without knowing what's in the report, it's kind of tough to say what they shouldn't be concerned about. I don't think anybody needs to be overly concerned about anything in a home inspection report, but honestly, because everything that's in there can be repaired. Everything can be fixed.
Absolutely. So, how often do buyers typically, let's say they have a home inspection and they're really concerned about issues, how often do they normally call you back and say, can you explain this once they've got the report? And I'm sure they ask you what you would do. How do you handle that?
Sure. Probably 15-20% of the time, and it's generally either younger buyers or first-time home buyers, because they're in the education process. This is just they're not dumb. They just don't know the answers yet, and so they want to talk to somebody that can give them the answers. We're always happy to talk to our buyers. Absolutely.
Right. So typically, you go out, you do the inspection, and within 24, 48 hours, you give them a nice report.
Yes.
Pictures, you itemize every item,
yes.
Appliances, electrical outlets, roof, foundation,
right.
And if there's any issues or any notes, and sometimes you highlight those in different colors or something. Tell us about what a report looks like.
Sure, we do. At the very beginning of the report, we have a summary, and the summary lists all the concerns. Mm-hmm. And in our company, we have 5 different colors that we use. Years ago, I had several real estate agents all in the same week call me and say, David, you're using all red letters, and you're scaring people to death. Yes. And I get it. I mean, when everything's in red, then it's showing equal concern for all these things, and that's not a good thing. So when we find electrical issue, any kind of an electrical issue has the potential to be a safety concern. Mm-hmm. So any safety concerns are in red in our reports. Blue are significant issues. For instance, if we find a structural issue, then it would be blue. Green would be maintenance issues. Mm-hmm. Pink is just something that we want to point out to the customer. We just want them to pay attention to this issue. It doesn't have to be necessarily a serious concern. And then orange is less significant issues. So we try to color code it so they kind of get a feel for what our sense of urgency is about an issue. If it's red, it's a concern. It's a safety issue. If it's pink, it's not so much. Just something that they need to be aware of. Like an older HVAC system, for instance. If it's 12 years old and it's still operating fine, you don't need to go out and buy a new HVAC system, but you need to be aware that it does have 12 years on it, and they don't last forever. And so just keep an eye out on it.
I don't know if it was you that used this scenario. It's Kathy, it's a 20-year HVAC, 20-year-old HVAC, and one of the inspectors says, it's kind of like a 100-year-old man. It's got life in it, but we just don't know how much longer.
That's a good analogy. That's right.
Yes. So when they get the home inspection, the buyer, if he's paying for it, owns it, right?
That's right.
So he can share that with his realtor, and then if he gives a realtor permission, she can also share it with the seller or whoever on the other end.
And that happens. And I don't have a problem with it because the buyer paid for it. They can do whatever they want to. The only thing that can become confusing is if another buyer is given that report and then they feel that we have some sense of responsibility. We only have a legal responsibility to the person that signs the contract with us.
That's correct.
And that's our original buyer. But beyond that, it's not a concern for me.
Yeah. Because every once in a while we do have a buyer call and say, well, can I buy the other buyer's inspection report? And we typically try to steer them away from that and tell them to get their own report.
Yeah.
So, what's one of the craziest things you've ever came across in a home inspection?
a Saturday morning home inspection in West Knoxville. I showed up, and of course, all my inspectors have super keys, and this was a few years back. Of course, we always ring the doorbell, knock on the door to announce ourselves. It was 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and I let myself in with my super key, and I immediately walked past the master bedroom, and there was a pile of bodies on this master bedroom bed. There were about 4 or 5 people that were
Wow.
in various stages of undress in this
Oh,
bed.
wow.
And then I looked around the living room and I saw wine bottles and beer bottles. And these people had a really great Friday night.
Yeah, I guess.
And I immediately backed myself out the door and called the buyer's agent and asked him to show up and kind of wake people up. And
yeah.
that was an uncomfortable position for me to be in for a few
That
minutes.
had to be a little uncomfortable. And I must say, as realtors, we've ran across some crazy things in our business too. But maybe they were celebrating selling the house.
I'd like
That's
to
what
think.
I'm thinking.
I'd like to think so.
Well, have you ever seen something that says you really shouldn't buy this house? Have you ever come across something and
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I inspected a house in East Knoxville several years ago, and when I first got there, I realized that the crawl space was open. The house was up. It was a tall crawl space. You could stand up fully in the crawl space. And I walked in there first before I ever went in the house, and I realized that one of the walls of the foundation had fallen in. And I don't ever tell people whether they should buy a house or not. That's not my job. But I did call this buyer and tell them what I had found and told them, if you want to save a few bucks, I don't think I need to do a full home inspection. I think you need to get a structural engineer out here to take a look at this. So I cut them a deal on my rate, and didn't have to go through the full home inspection. But I'm asked all the time, especially by parents. Buyers.
Oh, yeah.
Would you buy this house?
Yeah.
Or if your daughter were buying this house, would you let her buy it? And that's not a question that I can answer.
Question too.
Oh, I'm sure you've gotten it for
Yes.
34 years. Yeah, parents are concerned, and I get that.
My parents were.
Yeah. And honestly, there are times that we have a young lady that's buying a house, and I always tell them, look, you're a grown person and you're responsible for buying your own house, but I also understand that you have a mom and dad, because their dad may have just come to the home inspection, and I'll let them know, look, if he has questions, tell him to give me a call. Sometimes I have to talk parents off the ledge too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, what are some of the top 5 maintenance issues that every homeowner should keep close on their list of things to do? I mean, there's just, when you're owning a home, there's cost involved. That's part of home ownership and maintenance. What are some of the major maintenance things that you see that get left out that cost money as the time goes by?
The first thing that comes to my mind is cleaning the gutters. Keep leaves out of your gutters, because gutters that overflow or downspouts that are clogged will cause water to overflow from the gutters, and it lands right next to your foundation. If you've got a block foundation with a crawl space, that can cause all kinds of problems over a period of time. So that's a big one.
That's a good one, David. I see that a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
people hadn't maintained that or have trees over their gutters.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Off topic a little bit, we just had a Home Inspectors Tennessee conference in Nashville this past weekend, and there was a representative from the fire marshal's office that was there. And so I guess another maintenance issue that comes to my mind is make sure that your smoke detectors batteries are replaced on a regular basis. And the fire marshal would probably like for me to say that you need to sleep with your bedroom door closed as well. That's actually a demonstration that they did for us at this conference this past weekend, and they showed the difference between 2 interior rooms, one with the door left open, one with the door closed, and you've got a far better chance of surviving a home fire if your bedroom door is closed.
Yeah. Well, Thanks for tuning in. That right there is great advice.
That was worth the price of admission.
Yeah, worth the price for sure. How often should people check things like their roof and their crawl spaces and HVAC? How often should they do that?
I would have each of them checked once a year.
Yes.
And you don't have to have a home inspector.
No.
You don't have to pay me to come
But
out
you
and
need
check
to
those
go.
things. But and honestly, if you're a homeowner that wants to take good care of your home, you're probably going to have your HVAC folks out once a year to service your unit. And of course, change your filters and all those things that need to be done on a regular basis. If you've got a crawl space, it's probably a good idea to pop your head in the crawl space every few months. And I know that it's not anybody's favorite thing, but pipes can leak and mold can develop. And you can develop a pest problem that can cause all kinds of problems. So
Yeah.
it's just a good idea to just take a look.
Turns into money for sure.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another question. So you do the typical home inspection, the items that we talked about. Now there's all these other inspections on top of a typical home inspection. There's a radon inspection.
Yes.
Is that something your company does, or do you refer that out?
We do a lot of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
and-
getting a lot of folks do this.
Yeah, in fact, my daughter Dana, she's our operations manager, and she does all of our radon testing. She does our mold testing. She does our water testing. She does all that. But yeah, we do quite a bit of radon testing.
Yeah, radon is one of the top reasons for lung cancer, and it's very publicized now. So a lot of folks are doing radon inspections. And so you take a monitor there and
Yes.
leave it a few days. How does that work?
Well, the EPA has a protocol for a residential real estate transaction. And so they give us, it has to be for 48 hours minimum. So we set up the monitor on, say, Monday. We come back Wednesday afternoon and pick it up, and then download the report and send it to the customer and their agent typically. But one of the things that people get really spun up about radon, it is a serious issue. It is the second largest, the cause of lung cancer in the United States. I think the number is about 22,000 people a year in the states die from lung cancer, potentially caused by radon. But just like everything else, that can be fixed too.
Yeah.
And I tell customers all the time that, okay, we've got an elevated radon level, but it's going to cost you less than the price of a refrigerator to have it fixed.
Yeah.
I mean, a refrigerator is going to cost you $3,000 these days.
Yeah.
And a radon mitigation system is typically a couple $1,000 somewhere in that range. And so it's not any reason to let your deal fall through.
Yeah.
It's not any reason to run from a house.
Yes, exactly. And I will say you are probably one of the best, if not the best, that's great at explaining how things can be fixed. It's, not life or death. You're not
Right.
running out of the house with a hazmat suit on telling everybody
Right.
to get out. So,
Right.
yeah, you're not setting fear and panic in buyers and sellers.
Well, that-
All those things can be mitigated.
That doesn't help my client.
No,
It
and
doesn't
it
help.
doesn't help us,
No,
for
no.
sure. But it's one of those things that you need to know. And then there's a termite inspection. Is that something that your company does as well?
We don't do the termite inspections, but as a courtesy to the agents that are kind enough to refer business to us and to our clients, we do schedule that with a couple of different pest control companies.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And there's also, every once in a while, there's a well and a septic inspection. Is that something that you have somebody that you can refer out to?
We
for
do well inspections.
Oh,
We
you
do
do?
well water inspections.
Oh, that's great.
Septic has gotten really strange over the last several years. And used to, Dana would spend a lot of time setting up a septic inspection for people. The septic companies now don't want us to
Yeah.
schedule those
That's
now.
a whole different inspection treatment.
It is, and
Yeah.
they want to talk to their customer. They want to talk to the buyer because the buyer is the one that's going to be paying them,
Yeah.
and so they don't even want to talk to us anymore. Used to we could get those scheduled. Now it's gotten to be really difficult to schedule
Yeah.
those.
And if you want to do a septic inspection, we do have a list of people that we have that are qualified to do septic inspections. So if you could leave the audience with one piece of advice, so great piece of advice, what would it be, David?
Well, it's a bit self-serving, but it's always have a home inspection done.
Always. I agree with you.
Yeah, that and I mean that genuinely. I mean,
Yes.
of course I do. Like I said, I sell home inspections for a living, but everybody that's, we all know that the purchase of a home is the largest investment for most families in this country, and everybody should have the opportunity to have it looked over by a professional, so they know what they're getting themselves into.
They are definitely worth the money, and you are worth every penny, David. Thank you. We're running out of time. Thank you so much for being here. If you're buying or selling or looking for a home inspection, be sure and call David at Safety First Home Inspections. I promise you they'll do a great job. If you've got family or friends that just thinking of getting a home inspection, there's the number. He also has a website, so give David and Safety First Home Inspection a call, and I promise you they're going to do a great job. I want to thank Scott Wilk with Wilk Productions, our producer, for making this show happen, and we're here every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. We'll look forward to seeing you next week, same time. Thank you for tuning in.